Guys, all of you get my voice on the screen? Yes, come to me. You're attending in online. 20 minutes of time, guys. I will start your session. Just 1 minute of time. I'll come back and I will start here. Just wait a minute of time. Guys, once again, please check it. All of you get my voice on the screen. Those are attending in online. Right, fine. Thank you, guys. And let us check the content what we completed in the last sessions. In the last sessions, just we completed the last classes we completed like Java history, the topic we completed in the last class. And today we are going to start a new content that will be like which one in the introduction part. Already given a list of concepts inside this introduction content. So first one is Java history. Next one is differences between Java and others, Java features and Java naming conventions. One is Java programming format. So here we have to come for one. What about this second one here? The second one would be like differences between Java and the others. Here mainly others in the sense I'll focus mainly on C and C++. Others in the sense mainly we are focusing on which one? C and C++. Good. Alright, sir. Now understand it the very first difference. What are these differences? Nearly 9 number of differences I planned, 9 number of important differences I planned. Actually, if you want to talk about the differences between Java and others, here endless number of differences are available. Number of differences are available. So, but if you want to go for main differences between Java and others now, I planned nearly 9 number of differences. These 9 number of differences are very, very important. Each and every difference is itself is an interview question at a fresh level. Each and every thing is like which one? An interview question at a fresh level. So because of that reason, we have to focus more on this content also. Right, so now let's understand this clearly, how these differences are available, how we are able to understand all these differences. I'll give some clarity on all content now. All right, so that's okay, fine now. Now, observe this clearly. The very first difference, what I'm telling to you, C and C++ are static programming languages. C and C++ are static programming languages. But Java is a dynamic programming language. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. This is the very first point. All right, so now, before understanding C and C++ are static, Java dynamic, before understanding this content, before understanding this part, C and C++ are static, Java is a dynamic. Before that, first we have to understand when a programming language is static and when a programming language is dynamic. That we have to understand it. When a programming language is static, when a programming language is dynamic, first we have to understand that. Then after that, we have to decide C and C++ are static programming languages, and Java is a dynamic programming language. Right, sir. Now, so first of all, understand this. What is static and what is dynamic? I'll give some clarity. First of all, answer for some uh, fundamental questions. I'm going to give some clarity on it. Right, sir. Then everybody has to answer for my questions. No, few fundamentals to understand our present point. Right, sir. Now, I want to write a program. Say, for example, I've written a program. What is my program? Say, for example, we are not having any awareness on Java. That's why I want to say it's a C program, for example, .C. Not required to aware about C programming language. Just follow, try to follow whatever the points I'm telling to you. Understand it now. So .C, the file is available. That is like which one? .C. Okay, good. The next one is after this .C, what is the requirement to write this program, guys? Now tell me, what is the need of writing this program? Written that C program here. That's okay, good. But what is the requirement to write this program? For the sake of getting outputs only, we record this program. Not more than that. I want to get some outputs. I want to get some results. So for the sake of getting these outputs only, we have written the C program. If you want to get output from C program, so first we have to execute this program or not. First we have to execute this program. Then only we are able to get outputs. But without executing program, how it is possible to get output now? So first we have to perform like which one? Execution we have to perform. So this is like which one can execution. Now, come on guys, we have to understand one point. Who will execute this C program? Execution here we require, that's okay, fine. But who will execute this C program? Please remember here itself, C programs are executed by a separate mission, a separate engine. That separate mission or engine is called as like which one? C engine. All of you listen carefully, all of you understand this point. Everybody has to understand it. So C programs are executed by a mission. That mission is called as which one? C engine. That's it. So by the execution of the C program only, we are able to get our required output. Whatever the output here we are thinking, no, that required output we are getting just by the execution of the C program only. That means C engine. C engine will execute our program. Then we are able to get output. But I have a question, guys. If you observe this clearly, we have written the C program. Good. Now tell me first of all of you know, in which language we written this one? We written this program in which language? In which language in the sense, my meaning is user, that means understandable, developer understandable language or not? Developer understandable language in the sense, high level language or not? High level representation or not? High level representation or not? Developer understandable language in the sense, high level representation or not? Say for example, high level representation in the sense, an example I'm telling you, I want to declare a variable, I is equal to 10. This is user understandable representation. That user understandable representation is treated as which one? High level representation. The developer understandable representation is nothing but which one? High level representation. That's the point I'm telling you now. Okay, good. Int I is equal to 10 semicolon. That's fine. Good. But what is the situation for the C engine, guys? Now tell me now. What the C engine is able to understand? Is it possible for C engine to execute directly .c file? Is it possible for C engine to understand directly high level representation and to execute directly high level language? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. C engine is able to understand. C engine is able to understand what is that language actually? Low level language. C engine is able to understand which one can know? Low level language. Low level representations. What is this low level representation actually? What is the meaning of this low level representation? That would be like which one can know? Mission language representation, mission representation. That is like which one, binary representation, already. Right, sir? Mission representation and a binary representation. That means int I is equal to 10 semicolon. That is a user level understanding. But binary representation is nothing but like which one here. You can understand it clearly like this. Some intersection set is going to be available like this. The data that the intersection set we have to get in the form of like which one? In the form of binary. Then only our C engine is able to understand, is able to execute our code. That means executable code. That what is it? What we require? Mission representation or executable code. Executable code here we require. Mission representation or executable code that we require exactly. Come on, guys. Have you observed this clearly? What I'm telling you now. Now here, what happened? Now observe this point. No, we written our code in a high level, but mission required the same code in a low level. We have written program in high level. Mission required the same code in a low level. Why? Because it's a mission, it's not developer. But here, how it is possible to send a high level representation to C engine, or how it is possible for C engine to execute, how it is possible to execute that user provided user representation. Understand my point clearly? What I'm telling you now. Understand it clearly? What I'm telling you guys. Right. So finally, what is the point I'm telling you right from starting? No, we are able to write our C program in our own representation. That is like with one high level. Int I is equal to 10 semicolon. But who will execute this program? C engine will execute this program. How C engine is able to execute this program? Is it able to execute directly our source code? Is it able to execute directly high level representation? No. C engine is unable to execute high level representation. C engine is able to execute only low level representations. That low level representation is which one? Binary representations. That binary representation is also called as which one? Mission level representation, executable code. That is totally in the form of like which one? Binary representation. Zeros and ones only. Here we have to provide. So here we are getting tab or not. Some gap here we are getting or not. So we are able to provide high level representation, but mission required low level representation. But how it is possible to execute my program? How it is possible to execute my program, guys? Now after this clearly. Right, sir. Then definitely we require one translator or not. In this case, we require one a translator or not. Definitely we need a translator or not. Exactly. Then we require a translator. Good, that's fine. Now tell me, guys, then what exactly the job of the translator is? What the translator is able to do? What is the job of the translator in this scenario? Idea. Right now, I want to take this is like which one here? Translator. Here I want to take. This is I want to say like which one? A translator. Good. That's fine. I want to take a translator. Here I have taken, for example. What is the job of this translator now? The job of this translator is just a taking source code, that means high level code, converting this high level code into executable code, that is mission code, that is which format is required by C engine. In that format, the translator has to translate our code. Everybody has to understand this now. So that total converted code will be provided in the form of a separate file. That file here we are going to think, that file we are going to think is which one, .exe file. Then what this .exe file is having now? .exe file is having the total program in the form of like which one? Executable code. Executable code is like which one? Mission code. Mission code is nothing but like which one? Low level representation. This is totally right. Mission understandable representation, not anything else. Totally mission understandable representation. We have to observe this clearly. Totally mission understandable representation that is provided by translator. So now here what we are able to do whenever we are getting this mission understandable representation, if we give this executable code to then C engine can execute this and C engine is able to provide some outputs clearly. Right. So now what it is providing actually, this is like which one low level representation. low level representation, not a high level, low level representation. I'll have to observe this clearly, what I'm telling you. So here the translator, here we have used a translator to translate our program from high level representation to low level representation. Now, whatever the translation or a translator here we have taken, this is a translator or a translation is called as, this translation or translator is called as, like which one? No, compilation. Process is called as which one? Compilation. That's it. Guys, all of you observe this clearly now. Compilation process here we have to take. Of course, the translator is internally called as which one? Compiler. The translator internally is called as which one? Compiler. And the total process of compilation, the total process of translation is called as which one? Compilation. That's it. Now, this is what exactly the purpose of the compilation is. Everybody has to understand these points clearly. It's very simple, not any other content. So first we have written this program in high level representation, right? Then I want to execute this high level representation directly to by giving to C engine, but C engine is unable to understand high level. It able to understand only low level, that is binary data. So I required a translation. So for that purpose I have taken compilation. What is the main job of the compilation now? It able to translate our program from high level representation to low level representation. That translated low level representation will be given to which one? C engine. Now C engine is able to execute it and C engine is able to generate some outputs directly. Whatever the outputs are generated, then they are the final outputs for us. This is what exactly the meaning of compilation and execution. Guys, please give confirmation to me. All of you are getting clarity on these points now. All of you are getting clarity on these points. Come on, guys. Now, please give response to me time to time now. Right. That's fine. Right. Now, this is one fundamental point here we require. If we want to go for this static programming language or dynamic programming language, this is one fundamental point that what we require. Next, here itself, I want to introduce one more terminology. Guys. Now try to observe this clearly. What is the terminology here? I'm going to introduce now. The time when we perform compilation over our program, the time when we perform compilation over our program is called as compilation time. The time when we perform compilation over our program is called as compilation time, and is also be called as static time. Is also be called as static time. Come on, guys. What I'm telling you now. So compilation time and what next one there? No, static time. Right, let's observe this clearly. Why I'm introducing the static time and compilation time? Our point is like which ones are now? Tell me now. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is which one? Dynamic programming language. So here static word and a dynamic word, I need to define these two words. That's why I'm taking now this total part. So the time when we perform compilation, then it is called as static time and is also be called as which one? Compilation time. That's very clear. Next one is the time when we execute our program. The time when we execute our program is called as, the time when we execute our program is called as runtime and is also be called as dynamic time. The time when we execute our program is also be called as runtime and a dynamic time. Everybody has to understand it now. So static time in the sense compilation time, dynamic time in the sense like which one? Execution time. Please remember this point, guys. Static time is a compilation time and dynamic time is like which one? Execution time. That's a point here. What we have to understand it clearly. Right, sir. That's okay, coach. This is the other two terminologies here we have to understand. Let's come for one more small introduction part, one more small terminology. I'm telling to you guys. Now try to understand all of you know. Guys, now tell me, I'm asking one question to all of you. Now tell me, in a programming languages, we are going to represent the data or not? Please confirm to me. In a programming languages, we are going to represent the data or not? data is possible to represent in programming languages or not? Come on, guys, you have to answer for my question. Definitely, data has to be represented. Data must be represented. Definitely. See, programming languages we are using to prepare applications. So, for example, some enterprise application if we take, for example, a bank is available. I want to prepare a software for a bank. So, inside my software, inside my application, what I have to do? The software is nothing but application. Inside this application, what we have to do? The bank details we have to represent. Maybe accounts details, maybe or employees details, maybe loans information, maybe, and all the details we have to manage. Where data we have to represent. That's what. But in programming languages, how we are going to represent data? How it is possible to represent data in the programming languages, guys? Come on, guys. I'm asking to you. How it is possible to represent data in the programming languages? No. Do you have any specific construct to represent data in the programming languages? Do you have any specific arrangement to represent data in programming languages? Come on, guys. I'm asking to you only. You have to answer for my question. Yes, exactly. Here the point is like which one? Not binary, not binary. To store. No, no, no. That data exactly. Columns and rows are nothing but like which one? No, tables. That different situation. So in the programming languages, to represent the data, in the programming languages to represent the data, we have to use exactly what we are able to provide, variables. We have to use which one? Variables. Yes, exactly. Yes, Bhavani, you have given right answer. Right, sir. In a programming languages to represent data, we have to use which one? Variables. Now, that's fine, guys. All of you observe this clearly now. Variables are required. Good. E and O is equal to 111. Can I declare like this, guys? Now tell me now. Can I declare like this? Can I declare like this? E and O is equal to 111. Can I declare like this? No, no, no. In general, in the programming languages, if you want to declare any variable, first we have to specify that variable type. That variable type we have to specify. Understand my point clearly now? If you want to put any data in a variable, first we have to define which type of data we are putting. So to specify which type of data we are putting, we require data types or not. Into data type is required or not? Please say yes or no. Into data type is required or not? Definitely, here we required which one? Some into data type. So I've taken as an example like this. Number of data types are available. Finally, we required a data type. Definitely, we required which one? One data type here we required. Come on, guys. All of you understand this clearly? No, we required one data type. That may be int or float or whatever. Later on, we are going to decide. Definitely, here we required a data type. So the point is like which one? To represent data, we have to use variables, and to specify the data, to specify which type of data, we have to use like which one? Variables. That means data types. To specify type of data, which type of data we are representing, we have to use data types. We require which one? Data types. Okay, guys. Data types, what is required? Good. How many types of data types are available? How many types of data types are available? Hmm? Guys, now I'm asking this question. Just wait a minute of time. How many types of data types are available? Just wait a minute of time. I'll come back. 1 minute. Sorry for interruption, guys. I'll come for it now. So here, what we require here now to specify which type of data we are representing. To specify which type of data we are representing, we have to use which one? They know data types. Good. What are the various data types are available? Number of data types are available. Two different categories are available in the data types in general. Two different categories are available in general data types. What are the two different categories now? there are two types of data types. There are two types of data types. What are the two types of data types in general? First one is primitive data types. Come on, guys. First one is like which one? Primitive data type. Second one is like which one? User-defined data types. First one is primitive data types, and second one is like which one? User-defined data types. But now, in today's conversation, I don't require user-defined data types. I require only primitive data types. In the future, when I'm going to discuss about data types what in Java, then I will discuss with you what is user-defined data type. But as of now, primitive data types I require. Only primitive data types I require. Then what are these primitive data types actually? What are the various primitive data types here we are having, guys? Now, if you observe this primitive data types, I'm able to give a list of primitive data types to you now. So what are the various primitive data types? No, primitive data, of course, these primitive data types are going to be varied from language to language. So how many primitive data types are available, and what exactly their sizes are available, and they're varied from language to language. But commonly we are going to use some primitive data types now. Which primitive data types we are going to use commonly? Int we are able to use, long we are going to use, next one is a float we are going to use, next double we are going to use, next one is boolean we are going to use, maybe possible character we are able to use. Maybe language to language they are going to be different, but some other primitive data types are also be existed. Understand it, guys? What I'm telling you now. Into, float to double, and long and boolean character. These are the basically they are the primitive data types. Good. Listen now. Important point I'm telling to all of you guys. Now, for example, all of you have to carefully. For example, if I declare int I is equal to 10, if I declare int I is equal to 10, come on, guys, I'm asking this question to all of you. If I declare int I is equal to 10, now tell me what will happen internally. What will happen internally if I declare int I is equal to 10? What will happen internally? Right? Observe this clearly. In the case of C program, when compiler encounter this intersection, when compiler identifies this intersection, immediately compiler compiler will assign how much memory for this. No, compiler will assign how much memory. Compiler definitely will assign some memory for this I variable or not. Come on, guys. Compiler will assign some memory or not. So definitely it will assign 10 value to the I variable. But where the 10 value has to be stored? To store the 10 is a data. To store the data, memory is required or not? Definitely, in our system, definitely memory will be created. How much memory will be created, sir? Now tell me no. How much is the memory for integer variable in the case of C? I'm talking about C programming language. Alekya, Alekya ma'am. I'm talking about C programming language, not Java. So, as per my awareness, in the case of C programming language, 2 bytes of memory will be allocated for I variable. 2 bytes of memory will be allocated for I variable. Anyway, then how much memory is the 2 bytes or 4 bytes or 8 bytes? No, we will decide later on. But as of now, we have to understand some memory. Some memory will be allocated for I variable. Everybody has to understand this point now. Some memory will be allocated for I variable. Now, inside this memory, which value will be stored? 10 is a value will be stored. 10 is a value will be stored. Good, guys. Now, listen carefully, all of you know. When I provide int I is equal to 10, internally, memory will be allocated for I variable. Inside this allocated memory only, data 10, data 10 value will be stored. That's it. This is going on. So here my conclusion is which one? My conclusion is which one? Data types required memory allocation or not? Data types required memory allocation or not? That's my question, guys. Data types required memory allocation or not? Definitely some memory allocation is required for data types or not? You will respond for my question now. Variables required memory allocation, but how much memory is totally defined on the basis of data types only. Integer 2 bytes, like for example, and boolean 1 bit, for example, character 1 byte, for example, like this. Some variation is available, but I'm not talking about that variation. Finally, data types required memory allocation. That's the point here what I'm telling you. Good, guys. Now, all of you are getting clarity and up to this point, no? All of you are getting clarity up to this point, no? So, If you want to represent data, we require variables. If you want to declare variables, we have to provide data types. Two types of data types are available. Primitive data types, user-defined data types. What are the various primitive data types now? Int, long, float, double, boolean, char in general. User-defined data types are not required as of now. But what is the conclusion I'm getting there? When we provide int I is equal to 10, first memory will be allocated for I variable. Inside this memory, 10 value will be stored. How this memory will be allocated? Because of the data type int. Because of the data type int. That means data types required memory allocation. Data types required memory allocation. That's it. So this total basics we require this. Now this type of understand is required. Now here we have to understand clearly now. Right, sir. Now understand is required now. Next one is after completion of this particular point, now coming to our conclusion. What about this conclusion? Listen carefully. I'm going to give a very good conclusion or try to understand it now. Listen, all of you listen carefully. Everybody has to put more concentration. Here itself I'm confirming to you. If any programming language, allows to create memory, if any programming language allows to create memory for the primitive data types, if any programming language allows to create memory for primitive data types at a compilation time, not at execution time, at a compilation time, not at runtime. If any programming language allows to create memory for the primitive data or primitive data types at the compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Come on, guys. Then what was the definition here I've given there? Now the definition is very clear, very much clear. What is the definition here I'm telling to you? If any programming language allows to provide memory allocation for primitive data only. I'm not talking about user-defined data type, or simply data type. That's it. For primitive data, then that programming language is called as. Right. If any programming language allows to provide memory allocation for primitive data at a compilation time, at the compilation time is important. At a compilation time, and that programming language is called as like which one? No, static programming language. Programming language is called as which one? Static programming language. Right. What are the examples for the static programming languages now? I'm giving directly examples of which one? C and C++. Why? Because in a C and C++, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at the compilation time only. In a C and C++, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at the compilation time only, not at the runtime. That's why C and C++ are like which one? No, static programming languages. Because of this reason, we can understand C and C++ are which one? Static programming language. Fine, good. Now again, I'm giving one more conclusion, guys. Now up to this clearly. If we provide memory allocation for the data, if we provide memory allocation for the primitive data at runtime, if we provide memory allocation for the primitive data at runtime, then that programming language is called as which one? Dynamic programming language. All of you guys understand it now. If the memory allocation is going on at compilation time, then the programming language is called a static programming language. If the memory allocation is going on at runtime, then the programming language is which one? Dynamic programming language. As everybody has to understand this clearly. So the point is like which one? Any programming language allows memory allocation for primitive data types. Memory allocation for primitive data types at the runtime, not at compilation time. Any programming language allows memory allocation for primitive data types at a runtime, not at compilation time, then the programming language is called as dynamic programming language. Dynamic programming language. That's enough. Dynamic programming language. So what is an example? What is an example for dynamic programming language? If we come for the example for dynamic programming language, example is Java. Why? Because why Java is a dynamic programming language? In the case of Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data at runtime only, not at compilation time. In the case of Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at a runtime only, not at compilation time. So due to this reason, we can conclude Java is which one? A dynamic programming language. Java is exactly like which one? A dynamic programming language. That's it, not more than that. Guys, all of you get my points or not? What exactly the meaning of static programming language and what exactly the meaning of dynamic programming language? All of you are getting clarity or not? Please say yes or no, guys. I'm waiting for your reply now. All of you are getting clarity on this or not? Right. Please, guys, then all of you must respond for my questions now. If you're not responding time to time, then I'm unable to get whether you understood or not. If you're saying information, then as per that, I will move on to the next concept or I have to repeat once again. I'll take the decision now. So please, time to time, you have to respond for my questions now. Of course, all these points are very, very simple points now, and easily we can understand these points exactly. Good, that's fine, guys. So this is the very first point I'm telling you. Now, one more point I'm telling you, one more direction. To say Java is a dynamic programming language, to say that one more direction I'm telling you, just please answer for my questions. Again, I'm asking some questions now. Nothing about this total picture. Then Rinki Agrawal. So nothing, just what I discussed with you first of all. My point is like which one? C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. This is my statement. I want to give clarity on this statement. So that's why I given clarity when a programming language is static programming language and when a programming language is dynamic programming language. I given these points. Right. I given some points when a programming language is static programming language. If any programming language allows memory allocation for primitive data at a compilation time, then you already aware about it. Compilation time is different and execution time is different. Compilation time in the sense translation from high level to low level. Execution time in the sense like which one? Processing time. So if the memory allocation is going on in any programming language at compilation time, then that programming language is called as which one? Static programming language. Then examples I'm telling to you, C and C++ are static programming languages. Why? Because in C and C++, memory will be allocated for primitive data at the compilation time only, not at runtime. Then similarly, what is this dynamic programming language? A given definition. What was the definition of given? If any programming language allows memory allocation for primitive data types at runtime, not at compilation time, at runtime, then that programming language is called as which one? Dynamic programming language. Example is which one? Java. Java is an example. So Java allows memory allocation for primitive data at a runtime, not at compilation. That's why Java is which one? A dynamic programming language. Good. Up to this point only, completed. That's it. Not more than that. Yes, Rinki Agrawal, is it clear to you? Ma'am, is the points are clear to you? Yeah, that's fine. Good. Now come for a note. One more direction, guys. One more direction, simple deviation from our original content, but we have to answer for my questions. Now tell me, simple question I'm asking to you. Java is an object-oriented programming language or not? Come on, guys, say yes or no. Java is an object-oriented programming language or not? Yes, clear. Even if you are not aware, no problem. Then it is an object-oriented programming language only. What is the meaning of this object-oriented programming language? What is the meaning of this object-oriented programming language? Its meaning is very clear. Its meaning is very clear. In Java, data will be stored. Data will be stored in the form of objects. In the form of objects as per object orientation principles. As per object orientation principles or rules and regulations. Come again. Java is an object-oriented programming language only. Why? Because in Java, data will be stored in the form of which one, sir? In the form of which one? Objects, as per the object orientation rules and regulations. Now I'm asking this question to you. Now tell me, what is this an object, guys? Now tell me, no. Their object is a memory block. More than that, object is a memory block to store data. That's it. Their object is a memory block to store data. So what is the meaning of it now? In Java, when we create object for a class, or in Java, when we create an object, then only, there only, memory will be created for data. Yes, up to now, all of you are getting more. In the Java is an object oriented. So it able to store data in the form of objects as per the object orientation principles. That's fine. Then what is an object? Then what is an object? Object is a memory block to store data. Means that, what's the meaning of it now? What's the meaning of it now? In the Java, when we create object, in the Java, when we create object, then only memory will be allocated for the int maybe or float maybe or what I'm telling you long maybe all these data types. Whatever the data types we have used in our program, all these data types are going to be have memory allocation whenever object is created. Sai Kumar Reddy, Sai, just I'm giving clarity to you. When object is created, then only memory will be allocated for integer and for float and all. Why? Because they are the class members and they are going to be have memory whenever object is created. Getting my point or not? Yes, Sai Kumar, are you getting my point or not? Whenever memory is created, that is, whenever object is created, then only memory will be created for integers and all, whatever the data type is specified. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But when object will be created in Java, that's a question. When object will be created in Java, in a C++, C++ is also an object oriented. In a C++, objects are creating at a compilation time. In C++, objects are creating at compilation time, but in Java, objects are objects are objects are creating at the runtime. In Java, objects are creating at what time? No, runtime. That's it. In C++, objects are creating at what time? At a compilation time. But in Java, objects are creating at the runtime. See, observe this clearly. Objects are creating at runtime in the sense. Memory allocation is going in at runtime or not. In the case of Java, objects are creating at runtime in the sense memory allocation is going in at runtime or not. When memory allocation is going on at runtime, definitely we have to understand. That programming language allows memory allocation at runtime means that the programming language is a dynamic programming language or what? Understand my links now? The links are very clear. Java is an object-oriented programming language. In Java, memory will be allocated when we create the objects. In Java, objects are creating at runtime. Objects are creating at runtime in the sense memory is allocating at runtime. Then memory is allocating for the data at runtime in the sense the programming language is which one? Dynamic programming language. All of you guys observe this clearly now. Then the programming language is called as like which one? Dynamic programming language. That's it. So in this way also we can conclude Java is which one? A dynamic programming language. Yes, sir. All of you are getting clarity or not? This is what exactly the another direction to prove Java is which one? A dynamic programming language. That's it, guys. Right. Then don't have any deviation from our content. This is the first point. Very first difference here, what we identified in between Java and others. Java and C++. Right. Fine. Guys, then shall we move on to the next point now? Next point here. Can I go for this next point? Yes. Fine. Right, sir. Now just listen carefully. What is the next content here I'm telling to you? Very simple point. Very simple point. All of you observe carefully. Second difference is like which one? C and C++ require preprocessor, but Java doesn't require preprocessor. Java doesn't require preprocessor, but C and C++ require preprocessor. This is a point, sir. So before going to understand, preprocessor is required by C and C++ and not required by Java. Before understanding this, first we have to understand what is preprocessor and where preprocessor is existed in our programming languages. After that, what is a Java preprocessor? First, we have to clarify about this preprocessor. Then after that, whether it is required in C and C++ and Java or not, that we are going to decide later on. First of all, what is preprocessor and what is the location of the preprocessor? That's a good. Is there any advantage of having memory location at runtime versus memory location at compilation time? Definitely, sir. Definitely. If you perform memory allocation, at compilation time, then what is going on at runtime? We may use that memory or we may not use that memory. We don't know. But at compilation, we are loading that memory. We are creating that memory. But at runtime, if you are not using that memory, that's a waste of memory only. Understand it clearly now. That's a waste of memory only. But in the case, if we allocate the memory at runtime, as per the requirement only, we are going to allocate the memory. How much we require, up to that only we are going to allocate the memory at runtime. That means, as per our requirement, we are going to allocate the memory at runtime. We are going to know what exactly the boundaries for this memory at runtime. So up to that only we are going to allocate. But at compilation time, we don't know how much memory is required. But simply we are going to create the memory, but we may not use at runtime. There is no clarity for it. So that's why memory wastage is going on in the case of the static memory allocation. But effective memory allocation is going on in the case of which one? Runtime memory. That means dynamic time. So that's why always dynamic memory allocation is suggestible in our applications when compared with which one? Static memory allocation. Understand? Rishik Rao, are getting what I said, No response, guys. Yeah, that's fine. Data files, that is a hash include IO stream. Yeah, then what is this? I think you are giving information about the second point. Okay, fine. That's fine. All right, sir. Now understand it clearly. Next point. C and C++ required preprocessor, but Java doesn't require which one? Preprocessor. That's the point. Right, sir. Understand this point. No, first of all, what is preprocessor? What is the requirement to go for preprocessor? And what is its location in our programming languages? I'll give a simple chart to all of you guys. Now try to observe this chart now. I'll give a chart. Now try to understand this chart to all of you. For example, I have taken a C program, sir. This is my C program. C program extension should be like which one? .c. That's fine. After that, I want to compile my C program. Compilation is required or not? Definitely compilation is required. So I want to compile my C program. Compilation is required. Look carefully. Compilation that I'm performing. When we compile our C program, which files we are able to get? Yes, now tell me no. All of you now tell me which files we are able to get. Even in this diagram, previous diagram also, I specified one notation, one type of file here we are getting. Which type of file here we are getting, sir? .exe file here we are getting. That's fine. So now here we are able to get like which one? .exe file. That's .exe file. Next one is after getting this .exe file, then what next one here? We have to execute our program. Right now here we have to go for like which one? Execution here we have to perform. Execution is required. When we execute this program, then what next one here we are able to do now? We are able to get some outputs. When we execute our program here, we are able to get some outputs. That's it. Some outputs here we are getting. Very clear. All right, sir. Good. Understand my point now, all of you guys. Whenever we prepare the C program, we are performing compilation. When we perform compilation, .exe file we are getting. The .exe file we executed, here we are getting some output. But what is compilation? What we are able to get inside this compilation actually? Do you think about it? Compilation is totally performed by compiler. Do you think about the total compilation is going on with only compiler? No, no. Compilation includes The process is a process of 4 missions work, 4 steps work. Compilation internally includes 4 missions. What are these 4 missions? No. Very first one is like which one? Preprocessor. Very first one is like which one? Preprocessor. Next one is, second one is like which one? Compiler. And next one is like which one? Assembler. Next one is like which one? Loader, linked editor. These four missions are existed. These are the four missions here we have to understand as part of the comparison. Preprocessor is existed and a compiler is existed. Next one is assembler is existed. Then after that, loader, linked editor is also existed. Now this is exactly the meaning of like which one? Compilation. Right, so now all these actions, all these operations are going on one after another. One after another, all these operations are going on. Good. Okay, my report answer is completed. So where is the location of the preprocessor? As part of the compilation, the very first action, the very first mission is which one? Preprocessor. And its thing is which one? Preprocessing. Good. I'll come back for this point anyway. Next one is after that, if you open the compiler, here again we are having six number of steps. If you open the compiler, here we are getting nearly six number of steps. What are the six number of steps here we are getting now? First one is like which one? Lexical analysis. First one is like which one? Lexical analysis. Next one is a syntax analysis. Next one is syntax analysis. Next one is a semantic analysis. Next one is semantic analysis. Then after that, intermediate code generation. Intermediate code generation. Next one is code optimization. Then after that, code generation. That's it, guys. Now these are the six number of steps are available inside this compiler. Internal. If you observe this internals of this compiler, inside the compiler, what are the various missions are available in the sense these many missions are available inside this compiler. So we don't require what is the purpose of each and every step. No, just understand the structure. That's enough. Whenever I require these individual steps, no, there I will discuss about it, not immediately. Even we are unable to understand exactly what is the meaning of each and everything. At least if we complete first program, and if I open this one, there we are able to get much clarity. But now the point what we have to understand, these many things are available. That's it. Not to understand more than this. And there also be going to be performed one after another. First lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation. Then after that, code optimization. Next one is code generation. So this overall things are existed inside like which one? Compiler. Compiler internal work I'm telling you. C program, compilation. Compilation contains four steps: preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Now inside this compiler again what we are getting there? Lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and finally code generation. Right, sir. Now out of this total diagram, where is my preprocessor, guys? Now tell me, all of you now tell me, where is my preprocessor? At which location we have preprocessor? Can you tell me now? Where my preprocessor is existed, guys? Now tell me. Say, I'm asking to you guys. Now please confirm to me, where is preprocessor? Right? Preprocessor is existed inside the compilation or not? Preprocessing is a part of the compilation or not? Inside this compilation, the very first part, very first action is which one? Pre-processing inside the compilation. Yeah. Now this is the meaning of like which one? No, pre-processor and its internal content. That means and compilation and its internal content. That is. Right. So now this is about like which one again? No. Then pre-processor representation. But now after understanding the location of the pre-processor, what we have to understand there, what is the job of the preprocessor? What is the role of the preprocessor in a comparison? That we have to understand. What is the need? What is the job of this preprocessor? That we have to understand. That we have to understand. So for the purpose, I'm giving clarity, guys. Then it's a somewhat a big story. I have to explain that regarding this preprocessor job. So that I want to discuss with you tomorrow, guys. The preprocessor and its rules I want to discuss with you tomorrow. And before that, right, sir. Before that, what I'm telling you guys, and already some of you registered for this course now. Those who registered for this course, while entering into the webinar, whenever we are trying to enter inside the webinar, please try to enter into the webinar with the Durgasoft provided ID. Then Durgasoft has given some ID numbers to you as per the registration, that we have to enter that ID number as a first name and we have to enter your name as a last name. Then in that format, better to enter. I think some of you have taken registration, but we are not entered with that ID. So whenever we are trying to join with, webinar, then we have to enter which one? That Durgasoft ID as a first name. Better. Try to do that if you are having any already registration on. Because already registration, already ID numbers are created. Yeah, no problem, sir. So now try to follow this pattern, no? Then that will be good thing for us anyway. Yeah, demo link only, no problem. In the demo link itself, just we can add that one if you already registered for this course. Those who registered for this course, now try to use that. After this demo link, we are going to change that link. Here also we are going to follow the same pattern, but at least now onwards, we are going to have some habituation. Right, sir. Good. Right, guys. That's it. And what I am giving clarity is, yeah, then Bhavani ma'am, have you got that video? I think the videos are uploaded already. Have you got that video? Yeah. Then up to a few days after, if you are getting any problem with video, the same videos are uploaded in Durgasoft channel, YouTube channel. Just we can use that. We can access that video also in Durgasoft YouTube channel. The same yesterday class video was there. Now try to check that. If it is any problem, we should try maybe. But max drive videos are going to be played, no problem. But in the case if it is not running there, we can access that video, same video from Durgasoft channel. After a few days in Durgasoft channel also, we are going to provide our videos. Right, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A soft copy material, just wait 1 or 2 days of time, guys. I'm appending some topics to that soft copy. Java 14th version, up to Java 14th version, I'm planning to provide that. It may take 2 to 3 days of time. Then after that, I will send the total material file. Total course of material I will provide 5. Right, sir. Yeah, yeah. Guys, and those who registered for this course already, that videos link and everything our admin people have shared. Already now try to contact with our admin people if you have completed your registration process. Just try to contact with our admin people. Already they have shared it. Yeah. Yeah, Keshav, then and fee related thing, just try to talk with our admin people and they will give more clarity on it. Right, sir. Yeah, exactly. The videos will be submitted to Google Drive access. Yes, all videos we are able to submit through Google Drive access. Now try to follow that match. We are able to get it through Google Drive access. Yeah, yeah. Right, guys. Anything else apart from this? That's fine. Yeah, then I will monitor, guys. No need to worry for that, and I will monitor that and videos today. Max, your videos are going to be uploaded. I didn't get yesterday video, sir. Guys, no need to worry for that. In the case if any 1 or 2 days of delay, it's the starting time of this batch, no, or people might be and a bit delay about to upload this. No need to worry for that. And yesterday, day before yesterday, videos are available in Durgasoft YouTube channel. Just open it in the up to few days of time that videos will be available even through that one also. Just open that and where we can see that. After completion of this class, our administrator will call to you. Those who registered already, our administrator will call to you and they will ask to you and about this total procedure. They will give guidelines to you how to open and how to check that. Our admin people will help out to regarding these videos. No need to worry for that. All right, sir. And this classroom notes, I will send guys. Then whatever the notes I'm preparing inside this classroom, no, I will send guys just in a couple of days. Why? Because just I need to create a channel in a Google Classroom. I need to create a channel. Through that, I will send this document. No need to worry for that. It will take 1 or 2 days of time. I will send it maximum. So far, just 2 classes are completed, sir. 2 classes, no, I think so. Maybe today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, 2 classes, Monday and Tuesday. 2 classes completed. Just we can check these 2 classes in Durgasoft YouTube channel, guys. No problem. Definitely, Chandrasekhar. And for the sake of you, only these courses are designed. Definitely, you can understand everything. You can understand everything right from basics. I'm going to be covered. If you observe my approach today, from which point onwards I started these concepts. Now, I required actually static and dynamic. That keywords are required. For the static and dynamic keywords, then right from which part onwards I started now, that source code onwards I started, and compilation part I've given, start execution part I've given, and each and every point in right from scratch. Right from scratch to max level, we are going to discuss. So you'll no need to think anything about it now. Yes, we are going to help you to understand each and every point right from starting to ending point. Definitely, at the end of the day, you are going to be confident about your technology. And which way you are confident now, you should be in a position to teach Java to somebody else. Yeah, I'm sure about it. At the end of the courses, you should be available in a position to teach Java to somebody else. Definitely no. Once you are in a position to teach Java to somebody else, nothing about your interviews and nothing about your project implementations. And moreover, with this core Java, I'm planning for project also. Yeah, definitely. I'm planning for project also at the end of the course. There, all the concepts are going to be included. Definitely, you'll get more clarity, more awareness we are able to get, and moreover, our strength of classes, our strength is also like which one? Teaching more depth of the concepts we are going to discuss at each and every point. That's why everybody will comfortable with my classes. Nice. Don't worry for that. Right, yes, that's fine. And anything else, guys, apart from this? Right, sir. Yeah, Karthik, Mahadeva. No problem. If it's the first time learners, it's very, very comfortable. My classes, right from scratching and each and every point I used to discuss that. So you'll get more. Not to think much about it. Definitely. Yeah. Then for first time learners, it's very, very easy to understand. Yeah, I'll provide such type of platform for you. You can understand it. Thank you, Karthik. This project, one thing I'm telling to all of you guys, this project, whatever the project I'm going to be provided to you, that is for the sake of your hands-on experience. Whatever the concepts you are learning in a particular core, in a particular technology, to implement the concepts of that technology, I'm going to take one project. That project is for the sake of your practice, not for the sake of like which one, keeping the project in the resume, not for the sake of keeping the project in our academic maybe. That means in our colleges now. Just for the sake of your practice, whatever the project we required, whatever the hands-on experience we required about our content, what you learned, on the basis of that, I'm going to give that project. Definitely, at the end of each and every course, I'm planning to give a project. Say, for example, if we go for advanced Java, online shopping example, I'm going to take. Online shopping project, I'm going to take. Where I'm going to include all advanced Java features. If I take core Java, for example, there I will go for like which one charting application, target programming and GUI programming, and little bit charting application I'm able to prepare. So like this, depending on the subject, depending on the topics, I'm going to select one project. There I will discuss with you. It's purely for the sake of your which one practice. That's it. That's the point I'm telling you. I'm not going to give the projects in the point of college and in the point of like which one industrial. Why? Because we are not going to provide even certificates also for that. But course completion certificate we can give that. But project completion and experience related certificates we are not going to provide that. That's the point of what I'm telling you. Yeah. Can we expect more number of programs examples in our upcoming sessions? Definitely. And this is still we are at the theoretical part only. Once if we start first program development, from that point onwards, and every day maybe programs we are able to get, and every topic programmatic views are available. So we have to understand that programmatic views and programs. Definitely, we are able to prepare more and more number of programs. Rishi Rao, definitely, we are going to prepare more and more number of programs. Yeah, that's fine, guys. And shall we move on tomorrow? Shall I meet with you on tomorrow? Right. Why? Because and some other sessions are going in the same webinar. Sample CV also I will. Okay, fine. Taran Padma, I will send it. Thank you. Yes. Thanks a lot. Then you report and all. We will start this. Then first of all, maybe 15 to 20 days after we have to wait for it. Then after that, I will start like which one 8 to 9 session also. But it may take 15 to 20 days of time. Why? Because let us complete all these formalities for this batch. Then after that, we will start it immediately. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Ashish. Then core Java, it's okay fine. Then whenever I'm stopping the session, then only Durga sir has to start the session. Yeah, that's the point what I'm telling you. Ashish, Shivalkar. Then core Java, if you join, no 7 to 8 timing is fixed, no. Then after completion of this session, only Durga sir has to start the session. Yeah, the same webinar he has to use. Okay, good. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot, and meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see the demanding content. Thank you. Thanks a lot.